And hello. Absolute Football Podcast here. Absolutely the best football podcast, not just named Absolute Football Podcast, but the best Absolute Football podcast you can find. We're here with all the football, another amazing weekend to bring you of football in action. Of course, I'm not here alone. I don't come alone. A podcast with just me would be incredibly boring. So I have some entertaining people with me, and she's back. She's back again. Charlotte's back. Tell your friends. Charlotte, welcome back to the podcast over a week off. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. It wouldn't be a podcast about me and you on it. If one of us is on, the other one is there as well, isn't it?
This is it. We both weren't on last week and people were very worried about us.
But yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm not too bad. I've been a little bit sunburnt this weekend, actually. It was nice. I don't mind it, actually. Just to at least get a bit of sun. I was prepared to do it. I was out all weekend. So, yeah, a bit of sun, trying to get as much as I can. But I'm doing very well. And, of course, before we sort of come to other guests, we want to mention there's a special birthday today, isn't there, Charlotte? Do you want to talk about that?
There is a special birthday. Yeah, I just want to say a massive happy birthday to Her Game Too. Obviously, it's 2 years since the campaign launched its video, and I just want to give a shout out really to all the lead team, the ambassadors, the advocates, just everyone who's been involved with the campaign, everyone who supported the campaign. It's just gone from strength to strength, and it's amazing to see. And I say it every time I talk about it, but I'm just so happy to be part of it and so humbled to be part of it. So yeah, it's amazing. So happy birthday, Her Game Too.
Happy birthday, Her Game Too, indeed. Absolutely happy birthday to them. And you'll notice, of course, we've got some people in the chat. We'll just say hello. Heather, evening all. Welcome to Heather. Thanks for joining us. Lisa, evening. Yes, we won't give it away who the other person is. We will introduce you in a second. Right, Sam. Evening to Chris as well. And of course, here he is, the man who puts champ in championship, the Burnley champion himself. It's Mr. Dan from Turf Moorhouse TV. Join us. Dan, thank you for coming to see us. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. I'm living the dream, loving it, loving life. I mean, the weather's been nice. What can I say? I live up north and I've got nice weather. I've got a reason to smile.
It's a double win. And so from a football perspective, you're all done and dusted this season. You can just sit back and just enjoy it from a Burnley.
That's it. We've been on the beach for a couple of weeks. Obviously, the season's over now as well. So it's all round been a good season for me. One of the best, and there's even a documentary for people to see as well coming soon, so that should be good.
It should be interesting indeed. It should be interesting, and a few more people coming and join us in the chat. Kate, good evening to you as well. If you're listening on audio, you can join us live on Mondays at 8:00 on YouTube and Twitch and be part of the chat. Heather, yes, they are no longer a championship club, absolutely. And Chris says, have you finished celebrating yet? Have you finished celebrating, or does it continue on all summer?
My liver keeps telling me to stop celebrating now. However, seeing the beers in the fridge is just almost tempting me. So I try not to. I think the celebrations are on hold now.
On hold, yeah.
Mine's the opposite. I'm drowning my sorrows.
When do your sorrows stop drowning?
I promise I'm not a big drinker. I promise. To anyone watching this, I'm not.
Not at all. And of course, you will recognise if you've seen Dan on one of our special All About episodes. Dan joined us for All About Burnley, which is still available on the channel if you haven't caught that as well. But we are here today to talk about this week's football and what's been going on, and particularly in the Premier League, because it was a pretty momentous Sunday in terms of the Premier League. We're going to start right at the top, and we're going to start with, and you may notice Lucas is not here, talking of drowning his sorrows. Arsenal. The game's up, isn't it? The game is up. They fell 3-0 to Brighton yesterday after Manchester City got the job done against Everton. It's as good as done. It's pretty much done. It's done, isn't it, Shah? It's done.
They've blown it, in my opinion. I can't see a way back for Arsenal now, especially for City that we're watching at the minute. They're in 3 competitions, aren't they? They could win the treble. I'm hoping they don't. But yeah, it's not good really for Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, great season for them, for a young side, young manager, to be competing with that Manchester City. I can't speak. That Manchester City side is unbelievable, but you just watch some of the players now and they just look so tired. Saka's one of them. He's really out of form at the minute. He's not playing good. They're missing Saliba as well. It's a weird one for me because I feel sorry for them, and if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be gutted because it became so close. But then it's been a brilliant season for him.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I mean, it's. I think we've all kind of seen this Arsenal team develop and grow through the season, and then just the question at the minute is, and we'll ask it in a moment about the have they bottled it? Have they bottled it? Is it all gone over? There's some we never thought they'd be here to begin with, so you kind of have to put a little bit of perspective on it. I think you're right in terms of Chris agrees with you in the chat show. Arsenal look lethargic. They certainly lost a little bit of themselves in not just recent weeks, but I think a little while back, even just before the Manchester City game. But of course, the main talk, Dan, is about the bottle. Do you see it as a bottle job, or do you think people are being a bit harsh with the bottle tag?
No, not really. I mean, it's not got far to travel, is it? It's basically like ping pong between them and Spurs. Just kick it from one side to the other. Arsenal, as you said there, it's not just been something that's happened over 1 or 2 games. It's happened for a good period, a good 2 or 3 months now. They're almost like the Premier League Sheffield Wednesday with how much they dropped off. So it's gutting to see, because I would have loved to see somebody else win it just for a change. However, it looks like that's it. You know, you can't put it any other way. They have bottled it, and bottled it massively. And that result against Brighton is an absolute sucker punch.
I think January's cost them as well, because they didn't do any business in January. And I think if he would have made a couple more additions, that could have been vital to them as well, because they've obviously had injuries. As we say, they look lethargic as well. So I think January has really cost them.
Yeah, it has, because I mean, although they bought in one, it just wasn't quite. I mean, they had Trossard. Trossard wasn't a bad signing, I think. Trossard was probably the better one. But then sort of Jorginho, well, he's a bit of a B-rate party, isn't he? And Party dropped off, and then they had the Polish centre back. Is it Kivior, who was doing his laces up yesterday for the first goal in the 6-yard box, which is, I mean, defending 1-on-1. Don't do your laces up when the crosses come in. That tends to be defending 1-on-1, and so that backup wasn't there. So it was, I think you mentioned, Charles, with Saliba going down a little while back. Really changed the structure there. Holding's not that same player in there, and that's made a massive difference. But as we sort of say on the pod again, if one player is so crucial to your team, then you're only a moment away, aren't you, from disaster? So exactly. It seems to be that's what's happened. So in the chat, I think Heather believes they finished way above where they expected, which is true. Yeah. They did finish where they expected. Craig thought Arsenal would be challenging the top 4. Good season, but they bottled it a bit. Yeah, I mean, the games you have to look at really are probably the Southampton and the West Ham games. Yes. They're the ones. I mean, the City loss was potential that could have happened, but they didn't need to win all the games, did they? But when they went to City, with the 2 games ahead of that, beat West Ham, beat Saints. Okay, on paper, people scrapping for their lives, but that's what's cost them. I mean, Charles, do you see it any other way? Do you think it's the pressure City have put on them, or just the pressure on Arsenal just themselves?
I think it's a bit of both, because you can never write Manchester City off. Like, even we were talking about it in our Discord chat, wasn't we? When it comes down to that final game of Manchester City, we've seen it with Liverpool, we've seen it with Manchester United, and then City have just come out obviously on top. And just the players they have, the quality of Manchester City, I just think that's what Arsenal's lacking. But in respect to Arsenal as well, they are a very young side, so obviously they are up and coming. So we've got a lot of seasons in them to get better and to learn from this. But you just can never write Pep and Manchester City off, never.
It's a nasty juggernaut to have breathing down your neck, knowing that you cannot afford to draw off a single point and that they're going to be on you like hounds. I mean, Liverpool know it very well. Last season, literally didn't lose a game in that final stretch. It was too much, and Arsenal just gave them too much room that it looks like it's going to be over with weeks to go. And so we'll move on to City in a minute, but I think we mentioned 1 or 2 of Arsenal's players. Do you think they are tired? Do you think? I mean, Saka's one. I think Lucas mentioned in our chat as well how disappointed he'd been with Saka over the last few games or so. I mean, Dan, do you think it's the majority of squads dropped off? Is it that they were too emotional earlier in the season, perhaps, and it's all catching up with them?
Looking at them, some of them seem to be out playing for themselves. It's almost like the team element of side of things has just been put to one side, and it's, well, can I get a decent move in January, or not in January, in the summer? For for one or two of them. I mean, I know people have been sniffing around Kieran Tierney. I think Reece Nelson's out of contract as well, and he's been getting a bit of game time off the bench. But that's the only problem with Arsenal. I think they've had this bit of success, and then they've almost like shit themselves, basically.
Yeah.
They've literally just got to that point and thought, "Oh, City's on our shoulder." It's almost like looking back. You know, you're watching a horror movie or something, and the phone rings in the horror movie. The film finishes, and your phone rings. It's almost like, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
That's what City are. They might be noisy neighbours to Manchester United, but they're certainly next door but one to Arsenal, and they're the neighbours from hell, if you want to call them that.
They are the boogeyman. The boogeyman dripping over your shoulder. The boogeyman's going to get you, and they do. They chase you down in the end. They chase you down. I think so. Just spotting here that Heather said in the chat, Saka too much pressure.
Yeah,
I reckon he's only young.
So. Obviously, the World Cup as well. The World Cup didn't help.
As well. They've had he's had a lot last few seasons, and to keep that intensity up, and I feel that I spotted it a bit early on in the season with the emotions they were giving after games. You know, the everyone was on about the celebration. That's fine. I don't have so much of an issue with that. But sort of you could see the emotion pouring out every kind of win. You think you're going to need this. Well, I remember them scoring that last minute goal against Bournemouth a long way back out. I'm thinking this is too far out to be sneaking those kind of wins and using up your emotions with it, because you come to this time of the season and everyone's fighting for their lives. You know, you end up with games that, you know, we saw at the weekend again with teams that are fighting down the bottom, scrapping points out from nowhere. You get bizarre results and you can't rely on anything. And then Brighton were fantastic at the weekend. I mean, they're an absolute joy to watch. Got to say, you know, the freedom with which they play with, they're probably the worst side you could play when you're under pressure, because particularly in that game, they didn't really have anything to worry about or to go for. So, yeah, there's something else. And they're making mistakes. Ramsdale has made a few mistakes in the last few weeks.
Even Arteta. Some of them making when Saka's not playing well. I know obviously they've not got the biggest of squads kind of thing, but if you're not playing well, drop him. I just feel like sometimes, and this is not me saying Saka's like too big for his boots or anything, because he comes across as a really nice lad, but sometimes you do have to kind of put them in the place, and if they're not playing well, drop them. Give them like
we see it a lot with two young people. The youngsters in the group, it's almost like, they'll play through this bad patch. Not teach them that lesson young. Say, look, I'm sorry, but at this moment, you know, no player is ever bigger than the club, and you're there to do a job and do the best you can. So you've got to be in there man management wise if you're Arteta and say, look, you are still young, you are going through a bit of a bad patch, not in terms of how you're playing, but maybe just mentally. Are you sort of actually in it? You know, we saw at Burnley a few seasons back with Dwight McNeil, where he was a game changer for us. But then there were a few games he was absolutely off it. And it took him a while, Dash, but he eventually put him on the bench. Yeah. And we was all like, when McNeil came back, it was almost like this player's been revitalised. And that's all it can take. You could just even leave him out for one game week. And it can massively, massively help. But with Arsenal, as you say, that squad is so young. Still so much development in there. This season is going to be a massive learning curve for them, and how they react next season is going to be the big task.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as you say, it's probably the manager protecting them from themselves as well, isn't it? Yeah. Because the young players always want to play, and I can play every week and I can do it. And it's recognising the fact that, no, actually, you need a break. You need a game off or two. I mean, I think Trossard was player of the month, I think, a few months back. And then they dropped him. Jesus came back and they had him, Martinelli. I don't think Jesus coming back has helped them either. I think they're a less effective team with Jesus in it, actually. I think they're a lot less potent. I think he gets in the space that Odegaard picks up a lot. Yeah. I think he damages some of the other things that they do. And then say Saka hasn't really had a break. Martinelli came off at the weekend, as Chris mentioned. Maybe could have got sent off prior to that for a challenge on Matoma, which was more ice hockey, wasn't it, than football? But as Craig mentions as well in the chat that Saka was the one player looked off even last week, and he has for a little while. And I think it's something Lucas has picked up on as an Arsenal fan, that he's been very frustrated with Saka second half of the season. But some of that's probably the expectations of his first half of the season. Have created some of that too. So
I think even Zinchenko as well. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it was because he was more like free to play in, like, you know, in Manchester City and stuff like that. But he just looks a bit of a liability at the minute for Arsenal. And he just always seems to put himself under pressure.
Yeah, he does.
I'd take that captaincy role away from him. Take that away from him, and it'll sort of free him up a little bit. I think he feels like he has to be that voice, and he almost looks like Stuart Little amongst everybody else in that. So it's almost like I'm trying to talk it out to everybody. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's the Ukrainian national captain as well. So, it's not like he's not got that like nous to do the job. It's just that I think in that team there's too many, as we see with big clubs, sometimes there's egos, there's players out there playing for themselves. You've all got to be in on the cause, and for me, as you said, Zinchenko is one of them that is almost different every game week.
Yeah, you can never rely on him, can you? One week he can be fantastic, the next week he can be a liability. It's just, you need that consistency. And I know all players, they do have their off days, and they do have times where obviously they are having off days, but when you're in a title race and Manchester City are obviously right behind you, you can't afford to do that.
No.
The Fantasy Premier League's nightmare.
He is, yeah, and he's just not. It's just not the leader, the kind of the experience that you need. You look at Arsenal sides of the past when there were the teams that were there, and you look at the times of Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, even people like Ray Parlour that they had there. The Lee Dixons, the all through the squads that they had, and that's the thing that they're missing. It's just a blend, isn't it? I think you had if you had a couple of Arsenal rearguard that were coming, I think, out of a very good Arsenal team from 5 years ago, around them, then maybe they might have seen them a little bit more grounded. But and you look at City squad, you've got winners everywhere that you look all over the pitch. Plus, then you've got the 7-foot Terminator up front as well that you're looking towards to get you out of trouble. The robot.
Oh, the robot.
The robot himself. It's just too much. There's too many Indians, not enough Chiefs, Chris says in the chat. And Craig makes a good point about Brighton. Brighton won on the last 3 trips at Arsenal. Not many do that a point. And of course, Brighton beat Spurs and Arsenal. Well, everyone's beat Spurs this season. So.
Yeah, that's true. I think even we could beat them if we played them, and that is saying something.
You kid indeed. And as we go through another week, the search for the Tottenham manager still goes on. That is another saga that continues to rumble.
I'm surprised they've not sat Ryan Mason yet. And we've got his assistant in as manager.
Probably is. He's sneaky. Levy can't find him. He's hiding in the loos. So Arsenal, it's a shame it's kind of ended this way. As you said, next season is now they've got big questions because the pressure goes up if nothing else, because next season the expectations there. Arsenal fans will now expect and demand a title challenge next season. They didn't go into this season thinking that. You've got Manchester City looking like they're going to win the league. They'll be there again. And you look at the other sides around and think, surely Liverpool you look at this run that they put on back end of the season, what they do with recruitment. You're looking at Chelsea and their football manager approach, and we're going to come on to Poch as well. Who knows where that's going to end up? Manchester United are pushing, Newcastle are pushing. I'm not mentioning Spurs because they're not. Burnley are coming up, Burnley are coming up for European football, perhaps. We've seen it before. Coming challenging, joining the Brightons and co. So it's a tough one next season for Arsenal, I think. Tough one and a difficult pill probably for them to swallow. I know it's not mathematically done, but City don't collapse, do they? Not in the Premier League anyway, unless Madrid can get a collapse out of the midweek, but I don't think in the Premier League. So moving on to Manchester City, they of course steamrolled Everton, absolutely steamrolled Everton 3-0. And they seem to have a player that pops up every now and again in these key matches in Ilkay Gundogan. I mean, the goal he scored on the old knee and the swivel with the strike, that was ridiculous. I mean, you've seen that goal many a time, I'm sure, at Burnley, Dan, but what was your view? What was your view on that goal?
If I've seen it at Burnley, it's just a lucky ricochet off somebody's knee. It's definitely not planned. I mean, it was just a fantastic finish. The instinct to even do that. I mean, to realise how much space he had, to even just, I don't know, it's the initiative to think, right, there's no one behind me. I don't even know where the goal is. I'm just going to sort of hope that it pays off. And I think that's why some of them are like the best ones, because of there's no instinct to it at all. He's not intentionally going, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. But a really fantastic finish. As you said there, City always seem to have a player in every game that either turns up. You get Haaland banging about 16 or something like that. Then you'll get Mahrez, who has a game where he bags an hat-trick or something. But it was Gundogan's day. If anything, this is the game where I think Arsenal fans was thinking, right, well, you've got Madrid next. Will players be rested? We've seen Dash, obviously, no offence, Arsenal, but obviously beat Arsenal in his debut game as manager. But yeah, City, once they get one, City, it's almost like the floodgates open. It's like, welcome to the show. City have arrived and they've left their mark on Goodison Park, especially Ilkay Gundogan.
It is indeed, yeah. You feel that first goal goes in, the inevitable is happening. I think you're right. I think that probably had a bit of an effect on Arsenal. They looked flat after that. I think they were hoping for it, and to see City get it, that must have had. It filters through. You could sort of hear it with the fans as well pre-game. It's just not. It's going to have that effect on it, and City do what City do. And we're joined by Josh is joining us in the chat, our very own Josh, and we know his views on Pep, but he's just making sure, in case you weren't aware, he's not a fan. He's not a fan of Pep. Of course, we are keeping up to date with the Liverpool-Leicester score, which at the minute I believe is. Do tell us in the chat if it's wrong, but I believe we're still 0-0 between Leicester and Liverpool. So big game at both sides, so both ends of the table, relegation and top four. So that is still 0-0 at the moment. But yeah, going back to Manchester City, they just have it's the depth, as you say. The depth, you just can't. Everybody else suffers without that top 11, but you just look through that squad. There's people like Bernardo Silva on the bench who didn't get to look in. You know, Jack Grealish has been rested the last 2 Premier League games, and he's been absolutely on fire. Haaland's a machine when he's on. De Bruyne has not played every week. They've not had a left back. They're playing a Kanji at left back, and you know, we talk about Saliba missing. City can afford these things and do different aspects. I mean, we have to mention the T word, Charlotte, because we're getting so close to the end of the season. There's not many games left and many teams that can stop them. Is it on? Are we going to see a blue treble? I mean, it's going to pain my heart, but are we going to see a blue treble?
I think the only thing we can count on is Real Madrid. And whether Pep does what he usually does and starts messing around with Manchester City and like the semi-final, finals kind of thing. That's all we can rely on, because as much as obviously there is Manchester United, Manchester City final, just with the loss of Martinez and some of their key players, I can't see Manchester United beating them. As much as I sound like I'm a Manchester United fan now. I'm really not, I promise. But I just don't want City winning anything else. I really don't. And especially when they've got this over the head, like, have they cheated, have they not kind of thing. But then again, it would be funny to see them win the treble, but then it gets taken off them. That's another thing. But I am kind of like...
Sam's looking at you talking there, Charlotte, thinking, you know, I hope your next cough's painful. Stop talking about Man United not losing.
Stop talking about this treble for Manchester City. I'll hit you with a 40-minute Rochdale segment in a minute.
Only 40 minutes? That's not for our season.
40 minutes, yeah. Not a full half, just part of a half. It's just too much, yeah. I mean, City worry me everywhere. Craig says Gundogan, De Bruyne, Rodri not far off the best 3 midfielders in the league, and you can still put other players within that midfield. You've got Phil Foden's barely played all season. It does worry me. Madrid are the ones that I think were the only hope for me. I thought they had the league a few weeks back. I agree. I don't think the FA Cup final I can see apart from hope. Hope is what I'm working with. That somehow Wout Weghorst has been waiting. He's been waiting for a moment. It's going to come off his backside. And Haaland fails to score, and Weghorst slips up, and it falls in the net. It would be a dream, but that's where I'm at the minute. It's dreams, because I look at the game, and I can't really see a way with it with way things.
You never know. You never know, though. It is football, and it's a derby as much as it's a derby.
It's a final. You've got to be in it to win it. Who knows what
United beat City, didn't they? This season, Manchester United beat them.
They did. They won at Old Trafford.
Never know.
You never know. You have to believe. But first of all, we've got the midweek, and we've got Ala Madrid this week. Someone else having a go first, and then we'll see what everybody else does at the back of that. So yeah, City fantastic, and we'll touch quickly on Everton, because we will go to the full relegation cloud, you know, where things are later, but. They're always going to lose the City game on paper, but it's dragged them right back in, isn't it? I mean, obviously Dicey's at the helm, Dan. So I mean, Dicey is the man you want, surely, in this fight. Is Dicey gonna? He's not going to go down, is he? Dicey never goes down.
I don't know. I mean, I think Everton have been knocking on that door for quite a while now as well. There's a good number of teams in there. Dash, I mean, let's face it, nearly had Burnley down. Probably would have still had Burnley down if he was in charge. I mean, yes, we took it to the final day. We went down. But there was no consistency with the results. Like I say, we actually beat Everton and thought, brilliant. Norwich next at Carrow Road. This is going to be a walk in the park. Turned up there and got beat 2-0. And you're almost like, back to square one. This is painful. But to be fair, they did give City a game, did Everton, for the first half hour, something like that. They were very decent up until that first goal. Then Ed's dropped. That's where your man management comes in as a manager, and you need to get them, back up again. I don't think his substitution at half time to bring Neil Maupay on was great. I mean, a man who they brought in for a ridiculous amount of money and who's only got a 1-goal return at the club is pretty poor. But yeah, Dash, does he have the calibre to do it? Potentially. I mean, there is a good number of teams in there, as we say, with Forest, Leicester, and did I say Leeds? Yeah, Leeds, Forest, Leicester. I mean, you'd have to say that Everton have got as good a chance as any. They've been a stalwart in the Premier League. They've never been relegated, but it's all well and good speaking about history. I just don't think Dash this time round will do it. Part of me doesn't want them to do it. I want to see them go down, and then sort of you can have your success after that. But for now, no. Personally, I just want to see my stepdad upset. That's basically what it is. He's a blue, so I'm just like, we're here now. You know how we feel. Your Burnley B team, get one up, yeah.
Exactly. Football 101, causing somebody else pain with the results is usually where the support comes from. I'm going to flip it around because we were going to come to relegation later, but I think it's a good time to move to relegation because they were talking about Everton and we're going to move on to Leeds anyway. So we'll just flip this up from Heather before we go there because this graphic does not involve you, Heather, because Bournemouth are safe. They're well and clear, so do not worry. You can sit back, relax, have a mojito as we go through this section because Bournemouth are not going down. However, two of these teams might well be. So we're going to have a little look at the relegation run-in as it sits at the moment. This is obviously with Leicester playing tonight. So they're at home to Liverpool, currently still 0-0 as we see it. West Ham I've included because unless they get a battering from Leeds, they're as good as safe. But there is a way if Leeds give them a pounding that they could be dragged back into it. But it's 2 from those 4. We've of course lost Southampton at the weekend, of which some of my locals are very, very happy about, including my student who's now regretting coming in a Sevilla shirt a few weeks ago when he saw the state of his desk this morning. So it's a very, very somber time. Let me just take off a second. So if I take this off in the corner, we can see everything perfectly. There we are. So we've got West Ham on 37, Nottingham Forest on 34. West Ham beaten at Brentford this weekend. Nottingham Forest with a 2-2 draw against Chelsea. Everton lost. Leeds picked up a point, and we'll see with Leicester. So looking at that with the fixtures, Shah, where's your money at the minute? Who are the 2 for you that are bang in trouble?
Going off fixtures, I'd say Leicester. And it's a hard one. I would probably say it's a toss-up between Everton and Leeds. I think West Ham are safe. I think Forest, to be fair to them, I think Arsenal at the minute, their heads are down and stuff, so I think they could get something with Arsenal. Crystal Palace don't really have anything to play for. They're safe, aren't they? So, yeah, probably. I think Leicester 100%. Are my bet to go down. And I don't know because Leeds have got Spurs. Easy win.
Easy win. Leicester's is rough, isn't it? Leicester's is rough. There's no doubt. Say Liverpool in the form that they're in. And okay, Newcastle drew with Leeds at the weekend, but they've been in very good form. And you've got to go up to St James's. That's hideous. Particularly as they're going to still be in the top 4 fight. The only hope is that West Ham might be safe on that final day. Yeah. Has some potential. But I think also if Leicester go down, it'll be the biggest wage bill to go down to the Championship, I think, in history.
And they're struggle as well. I think if they go down, I think they really will struggle.
Yeah. it's a difficult run. I mean, we'll just go to the chat, see what people think of here. Josh has gone with Everton and Leicester. He believes Everton and Leicester are going down. He reckons Big Sam will keep Leeds up. We've got Chris thinks that Forest will go down with Leicester. And he's also, because Josh is in the chat, we'll let him know this as well. He reckons that Liverpool need to sign Mopay.
Good point as well, actually, with Big Sam. He was at West Ham, wasn't he? So you never know against his old club.
Could be something, but it's still super tight to call, and it's exciting, which is what we want. What we really want is West Ham to give Leeds to give West Ham a pace and then drag them in as well, and then you've got a hell of a final day with West Ham and Leicester. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're 31 minutes in, and Leicester are holding out so far against Liverpool. But we could get to the end of this podcast, and they could be 4-0 down, because that's kind of how Leicester's season's gone, isn't it? They've not been. I mean, where's you said Everton possibly looking at the fixtures? Does that change at all, Dan? Or are you still Everton plus one in your mind?
Looking at the fixtures, I'd say Everton just look a bit dejected, as Shah said there. Forest seem to be grinding the odd result out here and there. Big Sam, since he's gone in at Leeds, I thought Leeds were dead and buried. But they are really starting to stake a claim of, now we will stay up, even if we have to do the dirty donkey work that Big Sam always expects. And like you say, a good result for them against Newcastle. Fantastic result for them. They've got 2 games there. I mean, even a point at West Ham's not a bad result. I mean, it does pretty much cements West Ham's position for safety. Gives Leeds an extra point. And if Everton lose, the only problem you've got with Everton is they're inconsistently inconsistent. They could turn up against Wolves, get that result, but then absolutely get slaughtered off Bournemouth or something.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Craig just says in the chat, just on that point, don't forget, that was less than a week ago.
Didn't Calvert-Lewin go off with a knock, though, at weekend? I'm sure he got a knock again. And I think that'll be another big miss, because do you know what? I think if he wasn't made of glass, and I do feel sorry for him because he's constantly injured, I think he would be vital for them, but he's just too injury prone. Yeah,
his ankle, like you said there, his ankles are made of glass. Forest are staring a Leeds and Southampton situation in the face. For me personally, in terms of they are gonna, they're gonna have that where they've spent so much and dwindled down into like League One. I can understand why Leicester fans and Forest fans are a little bit, wary, because obviously they've got Coventry in the playoffs in the Championship potentially coming up. So they're almost like, we don't want another one of these teams, one of our rivals coming into the Premier League. But it is going to make for interesting reading no matter who plays. And Liverpool have just gone 1-0 up.
They have indeed. It is. We've got absolute Premier League. It's relegation news. It's a goal for Liverpool. It's Curtis Jones. Josh will be very, very happy. He'll be very happy. Curtis Jones has scored. So that has meant, as expected at the minute, Leicester remain on 30 points unless they can turn that around. They held out for a whopping 33 minutes, and now you worry for them. The floodgates could open. Do tell me if Salah got an assist, though, because he's my dream team captain this week.
He definitely did get the assist.
He definitely
did get the assist.
Good.
It's gone to VAR. It's gone to VAR. I think Curtis Jones may be offside.
Oh, here we go. Dan's
on. Oh, no, is it Curtis Jones offside, or is it Luis Diaz?
Here we go. Live VAR in the box. Dan's going to give us his VAR opinion live on the pod here.
The line's been drawn, but it's not really showing anything concrete. I think they're seeing if he was involved. It was a good ball by Salah, though. Good ball from the edge of the box, plays it into Curtis Jones. But no, it stays. It stays 1-0 Liverpool.
It's a goal. It's 1-0. 1-0 to Liverpool. 1-0 to Liverpool. And so Curtis Jones, he's started to get a few more games for Liverpool, isn't he? They've been playing him a little bit more. And I think he did right taking him out of the team for a bit, because he was one of those struggling a little bit early in the season, but still somebody that needs to earn their place, isn't he, for next season for Liverpool. But so Leicester there, bit of trouble. So, we just go to one or two others in the chat. Just go back a bit here, because a few people either gave their views. Heather reckons Forest, and she's hoping for Forest and Leeds to go down. And Lisa's got Leicester and Forest to go down. So, a real mix of everybody. But one people that won't be going down, because they're in the Premier League next season, are Burnley. Burnley are not going down this season.
Get in.
Not at
See,
all.
I did this already, though. I'm like, yes, promotion. Woohoo! in the bag. And then I've almost gone, oh, hold on a minute. Don't celebrate when the ball goes in the back of the net. You've got VAR to contend with you next season. And I were almost like, give me winning the league and the championship every year. Sod the Premier League.
Yeah. You got VAR and you've got your 60% possession up against Manchester City. Whole different.
Our annual 6-0 twice a season is going to be coming next year.
Apparently, there's another one. There's another one gone in. They're saying it according to the chat saying 2-0 to Jones. My phone saying Cody Gakpo.
It is Curtis Jones. I think it's come off.
It's a second in there. We'll update the ticker. So we worried about this for Leicester. If one went in.
Ball's played out wide. Cuts inside. Is it a deflection? Oh no. Is he onside, offside? Again, goes to VAR. This is going down to fingernails. Going down to fingernails. Between him and Johnny Evans.
It's a belting night for VAR. Belting night for VAR. We'll leave it up for the minute. We'll say it's 2-0. We'll see what happens if it's given or it's not given.
I think it was gonna stay. To be fair.
Yeah, it's changed it on my phone here to say it's Curtis Jones for the. There we go. Curtis Jones double so far, and it looks like trouble for Leicester. Trouble for Leicester, as earlier anticipated. So we've done relegation. We've done the top. We're going to move to something that is affecting live at the minute with Liverpool 2-0 up the top four. The top four, which is something I'm quite interested in at the moment. We mentioned Leeds, so we'll go to Leeds Newcastle as the first game. A 2-2, a Desmond between Leeds and Newcastle. Big Sam sticking it in and making it difficult, as he always does. He always finds a way, as Big Sam. Newcastle playing well, but stuttering a little bit. They had a bit of a stutter before, and they picked up some form. They were well beaten by Arsenal week before, and then just dropping points at the wrong time again with Liverpool on a bit of a run. So, Char, what do you think of Newcastle's chances now?
I'd like Newcastle to do it, but I think obviously, like we said, Liverpool are creeping up on them now. You can't write Liverpool off. It's a hard one with Newcastle because it's like with them, you wouldn't have expected them to be up there at that time. We've said it several times, like with Eddie Howe, they've not gone to that next level yet, spending money. He's done it quite well. They're playing some really good football, but yeah, it is a tough one. But then again, it's like with Leeds as well. They are scraping for points. Big Sam was obviously back at his old club. He used to manage Newcastle. So, yeah, it is a really tough one. I'm a bit like that with this one because as much as obviously it is bad for them to be losing points at this stage, I still think to myself at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have put them that far up.
No, they're another overachiever at that point,
yeah.
weren't they? And another that you'd said now they're there, they don't want to bottle it. They don't want to do an Arsenal. And I think it's put because Liverpool have put this kind of run together and are looking a little bit more like the Liverpool of old. You know, they go 1-0 up and you think they're gonna deal and dust it. You're looking over your shoulder a little bit in that top four just to be sure that you're not dropping points and not letting them anywhere close. And it's Newcastle that have been dropping a few to bring themselves back into play. So. Liverpool winning tonight, I think that brings them a point behind Manchester United and Newcastle, but with a game in hand. So Newcastle would have felt that they were in a real strong position a few weeks back. Now they're probably not so sure. From moving across to the other team in that conversation, of course, Manchester United, it was a better weekend. It's been a little bit of a turgid few weeks in terms of some of the performances. We had a bit of a dodgy week previously with a loss to Brighton. That really gave us sort of a kick, and we were looking like we were the ones that were dropping points left, right, and centre. But a good home win against Wolves, an expected home win against Wolves. To be fair, I think they had a debut goalkeeper in as well, who actually had a really good game. He actually had a real good game, the lad, for a start. But a win that Manchester United certainly needed. I mean, out of those two, Newcastle or Man United, Dan, who do you think is most fallible to a Liverpool charge?
I'd say probably Manchester United are going to have more of an edge. I mean, that the home form has been tremendous for Manchester United, and that's going to be pivotal towards the back end of this year. As somebody said in the chat, that, Newcastle in the last 3 games have been a little bit off it. The only reason they got back into that game was because of 2 penalties.
Yeah.
So, and they could have even lost against Leeds if Bamford had put it away. So, yeah, I'd say you've got more. I'm saying you, Sam, like you run Manchester United now.
I have nothing to do with the Glazers. Just put that there. Nothing at all to do with the Glazers.
I know who my money would be on if it was Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the Qataris, or Sam. I think it's you, Sam. I've got my money on you.
There we go. I'm due a
bonus. I think you guys will do it. I think you guys will get it over Newcastle. They'll slip up at some point. Like I say, they've got Brighton on Thursday, and Brighton are now going to be full of form and confidence. So another tough fixture for them.
No, absolutely. A big fixture coming up for them. From a United perspective, they were dominant. I thought, and it was as well as we played in recent weeks. Sort of Chris says in the chat, it should have been more than 2. Yeah, it should have been. I mean, this has been a bit of United's problem. They've been very wasteful in front of goal. Very wasteful.
Yeah,
in front of goal.
they missed Rashford as well.
Yeah, Rashford injured, and in previous games it's shown if Rashford doesn't score, we're questioning who's gonna score, who's gonna turn up. And although Martial got on the score sheet, he missed 2 sitters at the same time.
It really gets on my nerves, Martial, because you can tell there's a player in him. You can tell that he has the talent, but it's just so wasteful. And I don't know if it's because it was so young when Alex Ferguson signed it, but I just look at him and think you've got so much potential. I just want to shake him. You can see glimpses.
You get moments you think this guy's unplayable, and then he's so inconsistent. Yeah. He's had a lot of injuries again. He's another one that's injury prone, I think. He's just every time you get him and you think, and on fire, Martial. I mean, him and Rashford in pre-season looked electric together.
Yes.
There's real good linkage play. Martial got injured really early on the season. Then you just don't see him. He just disappears. For 6 months again with another injury, heads back. And, in theory, he should be streaks ahead of Weghorst for a starting position. I mean, even a dodgy Martial is still going to have that bit of threat. And they haven't been scoring enough goals, putting teams to the sword. And this is where I think the past few weeks, the issues have come from. Because defensively, considering we've had Martinez out for the rest of the season, Varane only come back at the weekend, they've actually been quite solid. The 2 goals we conceded, and we'd had 3 clean sheets, and the 2 goals we conceded, one was that horrendous De Gea error, and the other was a Luke Shaw penalty in the last minute against Brighton. But from open play, they've been dealing with teams really well with Shaw and Lindelof at the back. So with Varane coming back, Shaw back out on the left, there's 1 or 2 things. And as Dan said, the home form's absolutely crucial for that. So they need to get a tough game coming up against Bournemouth away. It's a sticky one. Particularly with them sort of done and dusted, they might be sorted. But we do have to talk about Garnacho. Garnacho is back. Yes. We've missed that young man. Just somebody a bit more direct, a bit different. I mean, I will say, why is he taking his shirt off to get booked to the end? I find that really annoying with some players. You know what's going to happen. Don't need to do it. We can celebrate in other ways. But he is back. He has returned, and we're very excited to have him back. And what a goal that was. Fantastic finish, fantastic direct. What did you take of that goal, Charlotte? Do you think Garnacho will add a lot more firepower to United coming back?
Yeah, definitely 100%. And you think how young he is as well. And his absolute quality. And it looks like he's just got no fear about him. Like, for such a young talent as well, he's just fearless. He's brilliant. And I think he'll definitely, I say one for the future. He's obviously doing bits now, but I think he'll be brilliant in the future. And obviously he's got his new deal. So, yeah, he's definitely one to watch. He's doing fantastic.
He's just so enthusiastic, and we need that young players coming through. Something new to show for. And Josh thinks I'm lying. He says my real name is Sam Glazer. He dyes his hair to hide it. That's my double glazing business. Nothing to do with American owners or any of that nonsense.
Sam says the one who dresses up as Everton's mascot. Remember?
There he is. He is. Mr. If you haven't seen it, watch our Football Mascots Lightbite episode where we're pretty sure that Josh was the man behind the Mr. Testicles outfit for Everton.
He came in this podcast while we were talking about Manchester City and Everton. Secret Everton fan, I tell you.
This is indeed. It is indeed. Foot in both camps. So the top four, look, he's back already. I'm not even on and Charles abusing me.
I'm sticking up for my bestie.
Sticking up indeed. So top four is looking tight. It's looking interesting. One team that isn't going to be making top four. Don't have a manager. Don't have a clue. The whole thing's a mess. Tottenham Hotspur beaten again.
I didn't know if you meant them or Chelsea.
I
was like, which one?
I've got the same intro for in a minute for Chelsea. Don't worry. Just read the same thing again. I lost to Aston Villa and Unai Emery. I mean, Unai Emery, Dan, what? Aston Villa have had a second half of the season, haven't they?
Yeah. I'm surprised that Emery even went to Villa, to be honest. I thought Emery would have been one of those that could have potentially been a Spurs gaffer. Even done a job at Chelsea, but again, they decided to go with Frank Lampard, and I don't know. Yeah. I mean, why? It's almost like when Newcastle went for Shearer to save their arse. It just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The one thing Lampard is going to be living off is the fact that you can say he's never been relegated because he's always been out of a job before it sort of happened. So he's got that on his CV. But yeah, the Spurs job is a poison chalice, and no matter who's in there, there's a lot needs changing at Spurs. For personally, and Spurs fans can dog me or whatever they want, but get rid of Kane. Stop playing to Kane's strengths. Utilise what these other players have got. Because if anything, they're just having to, we'll just get it to Kane, and if he can put the ball in the back of the net, then yeah, brilliant. I mean, he's not even got that connection anymore with Heung-min Son. It's almost just gone a little bit, stale. But Villa deserve all the credit in that game. Douglas Luiz's goal was an absolute peach, and Jacob Ramsey as well. His initiative to get in the box after playing the pass initially as well. Great result for them. Unai Emery's got them doing some bits, and again, they're just keeping it warm, that European spot for another team in claret and blue next year.
Oh, indeed. Company ball is coming to the Prem. Jacob Ramsey's interesting when you mentioned, because I don't think he gets enough credit, Jacob Ramsey. I think he's an incredibly clever player. He really is. And he's really come to fruition under Emery. He's been excellent. He's been absolutely fantastic. Kane, not at Spurs. I mean, this looks like it's going to be the end, as you say. I think what they're going to find, though, when Kane goes is really that gap is going to go boom. I think they're going to get hit with it early. But long term, they need to build a new plan forward anyway. Son's a different question as well, because 12 months ago with Son, he was top goal scorer. We were looking at someone absolutely on fire. That top three of Kane, Son and Kulusevski was arguably as good as any top three in the league, that forward three, and not at all. I mean, they've had about 17 managers this season and an absolute mess what they're going on with. So as Craig says in the chat, Kane might be there next year. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Josh hates football clubs and football managers. Then this one is Spurs as well. So he wants Kane out too. They need a big change. Manager-wise, rumours are that Nagelsmann was not talked to, coming in, not coming in, didn't want him anyway. It sounds a little bit like, this is my girlfriend. We're not going. No, I never really wanted to go out with her anyway. And it seems a little bit of that going on at Spurs at the minute. Charles, who's going to end up at Spurs? Or are they just going to give it to Ryan Mason or the cleaner?
I reckon it'll be Brendan Rodgers, me. I honestly reckon it'll be Brendan Rodgers.
Big Rog. Yes.
And I don't know what he could do there,
get sacked.
Yeah, that's true. Or when Chelsea get their new manager, it could be Frank Lampard. He gets a job everywhere.
That's true.
Everywhere. But I don't know with Spurs. It could be anyone. Could be absolutely anyone.
Yeah, it could be anybody. They're an enigma when it comes to managerial. Levy, who knows what's going on? Craig says Thomas Frank's been linked today, which could be a good move for Tottenham. So if I was Frank, I'd stay clear. I think he's doing well at Brentford. Yeah. But again, Frank's another one. There'll become a point when, what do you do? How far do you take Brentford? What's your next What's your next move after that? But Tottenham at the moment, it's as you said, Dan, poison chalice. Chris reckons Harry Redknapp. Yeah, why not? We've seen it.
I know we've seen a lot come out of retirement, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, Harry Redknapp's the one to come back. Absolutely.
There's one thing I don't like about these clubs like Spurs, like Chelsea, etc., that think they are bigger than everybody else in football. So that if they go, we want your manager, it's almost like they expect them to be like, right, my bags are packed, I'm coming. I mean, everyone's looking around now and thinking, nah. It's yes, you've got some decent players, but clearly nothing's working. And you look at that, you look at Spurs and look at the history, as you said. You've had Mourinho, you've had what we call it, last one before Ryan Mason that's just gone.
Yeah,
Conte.
you had down Conte.
Yeah, Conte. Yeah, I mean they've had a line of managers that have had successful managerial careers, and going to Spurs has tarnished their name a little bit, and they've had to try and go somewhere else to revive it, like Mourinho with Roma. Why would you go? There's obviously something.
Exactly. All stems from the top.
It's not just on the pitch; it's off the pitch. Yeah.
Yeah. All stems from the top.
Yeah, and it's not going to change the system unless they change the system they've got, the way they're working with it, and both of those clubs, more Chelsea than Tottenham, have been a bit of a graveyard for young players, and they're now starting to be that for managers as well. You know, Chelsea have destroyed Potter. He's going to take some rebuilding to go away and come back again. And you just think with Tottenham, don't get your hands on someone who's a useful young manager coming through to do the same
That's
kind of
another thing, though. They don't even give him enough time.
No.
Like, you inherited a team that's already got their heads in the gutter. You've got, as soon as you're like literally peeking over the top of like the scum on the top, you're almost just like, oh, okay. Where am I going? It's same with Potter. You know, he literally had turned down big jobs numerous years and said, no, I've got a project with Brighton, and then went to Chelsea, and it just didn't work. But the thing is with Chelsea, it's been the same with him, with Thomas Tuchel. The list can go on. So many people can just say that, oh, it's all well and good getting these young managers in, but you're not giving them the chance to create their own philosophy, create their own team. They're dealing with the hand that's already been given to them. You're not going to win a game of poker if your mate says, I'm going for a piss, can you look after my cards here? Because you're sort of playing for the two of you.
That's
so
what I do.
You're almost...
He just
What?
like, okay.
Well, I think the problem with Potter was the fact
and then
that
not come back.
And then end up winning.
The problem with Potter was he was playing poker, but Bowley was playing Uno while he disappeared off and was chucking all sorts of cards down. Oh, we'll bring this guy in. We'll bring this guy in. They've got to get involved in pick the right club with that focus going in the right direction. That they're all on one board, and Chelsea's a bit of a circus as is Tottenham at the moment. So, but Tottenham seems a big mess for a little while. Chelsea, I think we all think there's enough talent, there's enough quality there that can turn around and that can be made sensible over time from somebody. But I mean, we're being heavily linked at the moment with Poch. I think it's pretty much a done deal. It's not been officially announced, but it's kind of Fabrizio says it has. So Fabrizio Romano's on there giving it the thumbs up. So I think we're all taking it as fact. Poch at Chelsea, Shah. How's that all going to end up?
I don't rate him. I don't rate him at all. I mean, he couldn't even do anything with PSG.
Yeah,
struggled at PSG.
Don't get me wrong, like what he did at Southampton and stuff they did there, and even with Tottenham, he did a job, but I just don't rate him, especially for someone like Chelsea. Because I just think it's like the same again, where if you're not going to give him time, it's just going to end up going in disaster. And yeah, and I don't know. What some of me wants to be proven wrong because I do like Pochettino. Some of me doesn't because I don't like Chelsea. But I just can't see it going well. I just don't know what he'll do there.
He's been out of the game a little while now as well. It's been a few years since he's been doing it. It's not like he just left PSV. He's been at PSG. He might as well have managed PSV how he did at PSG. But yeah, I mean, and he took that Tottenham team that he had and he reaching that Champions League final. But my God, after that, they fell off a cliff.
That's
Absolutely fell off a cliff. That first season after the Champions League final, they were like 14th or something ridiculous.
Exactly. I don't see what he's actually done.
And he's not really managed the egos at PSG. And what he's coming into is a Chelsea side full of egos of massive contracts. So it seems to be PSG part 2, I think. So, I mean,
I think there's
is he
one
going to be
motive
paired?
for him going in at Chelsea, and that is to bring Kane. I think that's something Ted Bowley has probably looked at and thought, him and Poch will like that. I think some Spurs players or even Kane has come out and said that we need to go back to what we're doing under Poch, where we were hard to beat.
Yeah.
And you're coming out with these little comments in the midst of a manager potentially going to another club, and you're at an age now where you'd have actually won something in terms of silverware if you'd have probably stayed with Norwich or Leicester now. He's at that age now where he has to go and win something. Okay, Chelsea may not be the best place to go, but you're not going to go to City anymore. Haaland's the experiment that seems to be working, and is Kane going to want to go there and be just a bit part player from the bench?
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine Levy slaps another 50 million on if he hears Chelsea available. But the silly thing is, I think Bowley just pays it. Bowley just pays it and then gives Kane a 47-year contract to get round it. I mean, so Chris says Levy won't sell him to Chelsea. I mean, the links at the minute with Kane, obviously Bayern, which I don't buy the Bayern ones really. I think the Premier League record is something he wants, and then the United one makes sense. But the thing with the United one is that the price tag that Levy's going to slap on him, that's a big ask to just accept that, and particularly with what's going on with United, with the Glazers, with where their ownership is, what funds they're going to have. If they've got FFP's a little bit tight for them at the moment as well. That's a big question, and United may turn that down in the end if they feel the deal's not good enough. But Chelsea will just do it. Chelsea money, they never turn a deal down. And I think Neymar's another one I'd be looking at, thinking I could see him going to Chelsea this summer as well, doing some really crazy things. I mean, I just wouldn't put it past, having spent 500 million this season, they go out and get Kane and Neymar this season.
It wouldn't surprise me, and put them on like 10-year contracts, 20-year contracts of like 50. It wouldn't surprise me.
And do crazy stuff. I mean, their veterans team's going to be phenomenal with these contracts. Until they get to that, Chelsea are going to absolutely rake it in the Veterans League when they go for it. But I mean, Kane to Chelsea, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. I think with Bowley, you never know. I still think personally, I think the United one is making more like sense, but the money will tell. The money will tell. I mean, Bowley's just playing at this point, needs to stay clear of the football side. He really does need to stay clear of the football side. He needs to, if he's really serious about this project, he's got to stop all that nonsense that was last season, get in a proper system in terms of his director of football, his manager. This is the motto. This is the mantra we're going for. And line them all up. Can't keep doing what happened. The January transfer window was ridiculous. It was every 2 days. It was this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And you go, they all look good, but they couldn't all get changed in the changing rooms. They couldn't even play.
I'm going to throw some out here as well. We were just talking about Kane and obviously people he could go to. Do you not reckon it could go to Newcastle now they've got money? Possibly, because you never know. They're up there. You never know if you want that net. But then
I think he suits Newcastle as well. I think
especially if Newcastle get Champions League football.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a good shout.
I do think he suits because Isak plays more kind of width. Then you've got the option of him and Wilson. Wilson struggles injury-wise as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You can protect that.
And they've got the money as well. If he puts more, don't get me wrong, they might want to spend wisely, but come Champions League, they might think he's got some experience in the Champions League. We've got the money. Why not slap it on him and get him here?
Could be a spanner in the works, and it could be Newcastle making their big statement saying, game on, let's go. This is it. Champions League, now we're making our move. So it's going to be a very, very interesting summer, I think.
He'll end up staying at Spurs.
And then you come to August and we're doing, what are you doing, man?
Outside.
Yeah, what are you doing? Here's my statue. Great, excellent, lovely. Enjoy that when you retire in 5 years with nothing else. But there we go. Craig, so interesting to get Craig's view on that, as he's sort of from the Newcastle fan base.
Yeah,
prefer someone younger. Isak there needs more in defence and midfield. Yeah, I agree. I think they're definitely the positions you need, and I think they'll do that. They've been been clever how they've done their business
Yeah.
so far. So I can see that being the case. So Chelsea, obviously, they got their 2-2 with Nottingham Forest as well this weekend. So we're more or less there. I think that's the Premier League covered. I think elsewhere, just any other games we missed, I'll just run through the results in case we haven't talked about anybody. So we haven't missed anybody out because we like to be all inclusive on the Absolute Rule podcast. Of course, yes, Bournemouth lost, unfortunately, to Crystal Palace, Heather, but you're happy because they're safe. Double for Eze. He's had a very good second half of the season. Eze under Hodgson, he's done a great job. And of course, we mentioned Southampton are down. It was a matter of time with Fulham winning 2-0 at Southampton. So there we go. But of course, Premier League's exciting, and the EFL leagues are not done. They're not done. It's the most exciting time of the season if you're already promoted. It is playoff time. It is the EFL playoffs, and we're lucky today that we have had Dan, our championship specialist for the season.
Won't go that far.
The man who's seen it all, done it all, got the T-shirt. He's won the thing. So Luton, Middlesbrough, Coventry, Sunderland. How's it going so far in the playoffs after the semi-final first legs down? And who's your money on?
We've always had a bit of a running fan rivalry with Borough, so anyone but Borough for promotion for me. However, I mean, Luton and Coventry have probably been the more informed teams in that, 14 pack. Sunderland obviously snuck in. I found that absolutely hilarious that Tony Mowbray isn't the man to take Blackburn to the next level, but somehow gets Sunderland into the top 6. Get in! So, I mean, it makes for interesting reading, as I say. Luton in the Premier League with the trampoline in the back garden. That'd be pretty cool to see on FIFA.
Imagine someone's doing someone's washing.
Yeah. That's got to be the opening, isn't it? If they do, you've got to have the walk in.
But personally, if you're talking about stories and stuff like that, then you'd probably have to say Sunderland or Coventry. Sunderland have obviously been down there for numerous years. They're trying to get themselves back up. I think if it was a Borough-Sunderland final, then Newcastle fans would probably want Sunderland to come up to say, yeah, come on, you come back here, then we can absolutely, 6 points or every day of the week. But Coventry's story just is something a little bit more for me. They've had the issues with the stadium. There's been issues above in the club as well. They've had to play at the likes of Birmingham and other club stadiums. The job that Mark Robbins has done with Coventry,
it's so underrated.
Massively underrated. But then the managers of these clubs, like I say, Mark Robbins underrated. The job that Michael Carrick has done with Middlesbrough, Middlesbrough's story is almost emulating Forest's of being down at that bottom half of the Championship at the midway point, and have literally just found this resurgence from somewhere and flown up the league. And it's his first job in management as well. Maybe beginner's luck, who knows? But they are not just there on merit. They've done pretty well to get to where they have. And Luton will want to come out fighting as well due to the fact that they had the playoff misery the season prior. And Rob Dawn, since going in there, not really getting that chance at Watford, it's been brilliant to see Luton come back and have the success. First leg's always pretty decent. Obviously, Sunderland take the upper hand from the Sunderland-Luton fixture in the first leg, winning 2-1. Luton had a brilliant opening half hour for me. They obviously went ahead. If you look at the games that Sunderland and Luton had this season, they finished 1-1. Did both fixtures with Luton going in front. So I thought we were going to get something similar. Luton obviously did take the lead. Amad Diallo's free kick, though, was absolutely sublime. Just the way him and Alex Pritchard set that free kick up was phenomenal. And then Trey Hume, obviously getting the winner, was a peach of a header. Takes a nice lead to Kenilworth Road, but we all know what Kenilworth Road is like. You are practically on the pitch with the players. You are that close to the action. It is a dark, dreary place. It's a bit like Turf Moor. Like, it's old school. Nobody likes going there. And Luton will want to make that hell come tomorrow night. So it's anyone's game at 2-1, and Sunderland have got it all. Have got it all to do to try and keep that lead intact. However, Borough Coventry was the most boring watch along I've probably done this year, and it was a poor game. To be fair, I thought Coventry played pretty well second half. Borough probably had the first half. You could see why Ben Wilson, the Coventry keeper, was named in the EFL Team of the Season for the Championship. He was absolutely phenomenal. One of the saves he made at the start of the game, he's already on the floor, spread his body out before the shots come in, and you're almost like, the instinct of you to even do that was just brilliant. And he managed to it clips his body and goes onto the crossbar. But that result probably favours Borough, because they've got to go back to the Riverside, where they've been decent majority of the second half of the season. And Coventry now have it all to do. It is still anybody's game. But personally, if I had to choose who I would want to see in the final, I'd probably say Luton or Coventry. But how do I actually think it's going to go? Probably Sunderland and Borough.
Ooh. That would be a feisty encounter for the final. It's interesting how it's tight, isn't it? I mean, you get the cage of first legs, don't you? And anything can happen in the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs. So those second legs could go a bit bonkers yet. But it's nice to see. I mean, from my perspective, seeing Fortin, as you say, they're all kind of likeable for their own reasons, unless you've kind of got rivalries or whatever with each individual team. They've all got their own story to it, you know. As you said, the Coventry story would be fantastic with what their fans have been through. Sunderland coming back through the leagues, you know, Middlesbrough sort of come back. Michael Carrick's first role for me, he's always got an interest on, and Luton's my godson's team as well. So just for him to see them in the Premier League would be absolutely amazing too. So very, very interesting how that one is going to work.
My heart's going Coventry. I've got a massive soft spot for Coventry.
Yeah, I want Coventry to do it. If I had to pick a team out of the four, I would really want Coventry to do it.
Mine is.
Yeah.
Plus, I love Jamie Allen. He's played for us, and honestly, he's one of my favourite ever footballers for Dale. So my heart's just instantly with Coventry.
Well, Heather's looking at this more logistically, and she's saying, Jesus, Sunderland and Borough are so fast as well. And there's someone down on the south coast, I can agree. that journey's run, you go, oh, yeah, I might not go to that away trip this week. That's quite a trip indeed. So there we are. Thank you, Dan, for that championship run through. We'll see who's going to be the team. And Char's going to take us through. I mean, I've put Sheffield Wednesday on the list. Can we cross them out already? What's happened there?
They've just had a total nightmare, haven't they? Like the back end of the season, and now I don't know what's going wrong with them. I don't know if the pressure has got to them, but they are doing what Ipswich have been doing for the last few seasons. But now Ipswich have pulled it off and gone up. We're just absolutely bottling it, but I didn't expect that against Peterborough. I honestly thought Sheffield Wednesday would get a result, even though Peterborough, obviously, they were at home, weren't they, Peterborough? I thought they'd get some kind of result. I didn't expect them to get hammered, but I just feel like Darren Ferguson and Peterborough go together, and since he's come back, he's obviously done a job. They've been playing some good stuff, but did not expect that. But Sheffield Wednesday they've got a lot on their hands. I just can't see a comeback. I cannot see a comeback, especially with how bad we've been playing recently.
It's just a 4-goal deficit. I mean, they had that real dip, didn't they? And they picked up a couple of wins at the end of the season, and they won the final day as well. And you thought, okay, now they've got their heads on, and they've realised that the automatic promotion's gone, and they're in playoff mode and go into. But that's just a kick on the basis that also Sheffield United going up in the Championship as well.
Exactly.
It could be a double kick in the teeth for them. You got to think 4-0 is a hell of a jump to get back.
To get 96 points as well. To get 96 points and not even achieve automatic promotion is massive. But then to go to Peterborough and get absolutely tonked 4-0 was just ridiculous. Like you say, Peterborough I don't even think Peterborough got out of second gear, to be honest, in the game either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just every time they went forward, it paid off. Everything came off. So you've got to feel for Sheffield Wednesday, because they've been in that league for numerous years now. But no, credit to Ferguson and Posh. They did pretty decent.
It just seemed to click, don't they? But it makes me laugh, because he'll do really well with them, then he'll have a rough patch, he'll end up getting sacked, and then they'll like bring him back again when the next manager who they bring in doesn't do anything. It just really makes me laugh. It's
the Roy Hodgson of League One, isn't he?
Honestly. He is,
wheel him out when you need him.
Yeah. But yeah, I cannot see Sheffield Wednesday coming back. And it's mental because I remember on the pod, it was one week it was Sheffield Wednesday top, then the next week it was Plymouth obviously top, and they just seem to have like just totally gone off the radar. And yeah, it is sad to see because like you said, they've done so well obviously with the points and stuff and what they've done this season, but I do not think they'll be in a playoff final. You never know though, they could make a massive comeback and they're at home obviously, so they've got the crowd behind them, but I think it is a mountain they'll have to climb with that one.
It's a mountain. The only way is a couple of early goals and the crowd go nuts and Peterborough completely fall to pieces, but there's a lot for that to happen.
They're asking a lot, aren't they? But it's football, anything could happen.
Anything can happen.
And yeah, Bolton Barnsley was the second one. Wasn't the greatest match, to be honest. It's anyone's game. 1-1. It was at Bolton. Anyone's game. Wasn't the greatest match, as I said. But I don't know. I think I'll win that one, to be honest.
It's tight, that one.
They're very similar, like how they've been this season. The form and everything have been quite alike. Obviously, it's not far away from each other, so they'll both bring good crowds as well. But I really do not know who would win that one.
That could be a penalties job, I think. I think that could go all the way.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Could go all the way.
If I wanted any team, I know I shouldn't say this is somebody from Lancashire, but either Barnsley or Sheffield Wednesday for me. I mean, only Sheffield Wednesday, even though I know they're not going to be anywhere near it. But obviously, my uncle's a big Sheffield Wednesday fan, so that's the only reason why, probably. But Barnsley, obviously, there's a few Burnley ties there with Michael Duff as manager, Martin Patterson as assistant. I sort of want, two former Clarets to do well. And obviously, Bolton will always have that Coyle hate and everything going on. So, yeah, I mean, Barnsley, I would prefer Barnsley to do it. But I think Peterborough just, the last couple of games, I mean, they even beat Barnsley on the last day of the season, didn't they? 1-0 to get into the playoffs. They're the most informed team. If they can keep that going, then it looks like it's Peterborough's to lose.
Did they just come down as well this season? Well, have they just come down? Did they get relegated?
I'm not sure. We're too busy focused on our relegation battle.
I'm sure. I could be wrong. So anyone in the chat who knows, but I'm sure they were the one who's just come down as well the season before.
Yes.
So it'd be good for him to go straight back up, to be fair.
Yeah.
Would be a good turnaround. Yeah, going to be tight, that one. So imagine it would be Peterborough versus and/or in the final. Who knows? We'll see next week. I don't know when the final for League One. It's a couple of weeks away, isn't it? We got the second legs over this week on the back end of the week, and then we start to see the final. So intriguing. League Two, Shah. League Two.
Honestly, League Two. If you wanted to watch football to kind of like try and promote League Two and get people watching it, these two games were not the ones to watch. Honestly, they were so. I've been watching Rochdale all season, don't get me wrong, so I'm not one to judge anybody. But if you wanted to get someone involved in League Two football, or if you were sat with someone and be like, "Oh, watch this football, it's good," they were not the games. They were absolutely boring. And the one that disappointed me the most was Stockport and Salford, because obviously you've got a derby there anyway. Both are spending money left, right, and centre. So you think, oh, there's some quality players on this pitch here. It was one of the most boring matches I've ever seen in my life. Stockport have been great this season. Salford have been great this season. But I just don't think Stockport got out of first gear. They were absolutely dreadful. Salford won 1-0. But obviously, there's a second leg. It's at Stockport. They've got everything to play for now. Like I mentioned, it's a local derby, but it was just one of the most boring matches I've ever watched in my life.
A shocker. So Craig says in the chat he's watched the League Two players and thought the general standard at Gateshead
Yeah,
was better than
honestly. And I can't judge anyone. Like I said, I'm a Rochdale fan. I've watched some crap this season, but it was honestly, I was sat there and I was falling asleep. If anyone's struggling to sleep, if you've got insomnia, if you're struggling to sleep, put that match on, get it on a replay. You will go to sleep within seconds.
I don't understand how the finals work out. I was just looking because obviously the Championship one is on Saturday the 27th of May, but then Sunday is the League Two final and the League One final's on the Monday.
That's a mixed. Yeah, it usually
Why
goes one way.
you not got in league order?
You either go
why
up or
mix
you
the
go
last
down.
two
Yeah.
up?
That is strange. I don't know what.
I think it's a bank holiday weekend, that one as well, because
Yeah, it is.
it's a 3 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
doesn't make sense.
And then the second one, obviously, Bradford and Carlisle. Bradford won 1-0. They were at home. Like I said, it wasn't the best match, but I want to just give a shout out. Her game 2 player advocate for Bradford, Jamie Walker, scored, and it was a great finish. But yeah, like I said, they've really disappointed with these playoffs because obviously going through the leagues, being in League Two and stuff, you kind of see the results week in, week out. It was really close, obviously, the last few weeks in League Two who'll get to the playoffs. And I don't know if it's just because it's the first leg and obviously they've got the second leg they can all play for, but I just found them really disappointing.
Sometimes it's maybe there's too much at stake. I've seen it so much with these two-legged games, particularly having watched a number of, say, the Champions League ones. There's so many of the first legs become so cagey. Don't give away. To the extent they don't play. The only hope is that in the second leg, sometimes it catches fire and everyone goes off because there's nothing else to do. But the first leg sometimes is just don't lose it, stay in it. But yeah, we can only hope it's the calm before the storm.
Honestly, like I said, these teams I've obviously seen bits and like kind of followed the journeys this season, so I was expecting a bit more from them. So like you mentioned, I don't know if it's because they were too scared to like go for it instantly or whether they don't want to get injured for the second leg and stuff. So I am hoping it'll get better. It can't get much worse anyway. Hopefully I won't be falling asleep in any of these ones next time.
Things can only get better in the League Two playoffs. That's the message that we give to you. Things will get better. But we're going to move over to somewhere where the playoffs were phenomenal, as they always are. They always seem to be in the National League. I mean, the National League playoffs, I thought last year's was ridiculous because didn't we have that crazy fall Torquay's goalkeeper, wasn't it? We had all of that nonsense. And then now we've got Notts County making comebacks left, right and centre, looking like they're dead and buried. And wow, what a playoffs.
Honestly, it was a weird one because I wanted Notts County to go up because they came so close to Wrexham. But then watching the game, I felt so sorry for obviously Chesterfield and how it ended for them because they play some really good football. But I think for us in the long run, it'll be better because obviously the two with the most money have gone up.
You don't want them in there.
Any chance or any sniffing of going up, but from like that point of view, it was great. But watching the game, obviously Chesterfield went 1-0 up. Then late on, it was Notts County equalised, so then it went to extra time, and in extra time. Chesterfield's I've got all my notes mixed up here. In extra time Chesterfield took the lead on the 93rd minute and then Notts County then equalised in the 108th minute, so that was late on, so it went to penalties, but then unfortunately for Chesterfield they ended up getting beat 4-3 on the penalties. But it was absolute madness, and if National League and what I've seen from National League this season is anything to go off, I am actually really looking forward to next season with Rochdale because some of the football I've seen and just some of the results have been absolute quality. And I just feel like with National League now, it is like a League 3. It is like another football league because some of the standards and some of the quality you are getting down there, it is like league football.
There's not a massive. You see the teams that are coming up and what they're doing in League Two when they come. I know, like the ones that have come up recently. We'll see it again with Wrexham, but Stockport, Forest Green, they had money, didn't they, when they came up?
Yeah.
But you can see the way that they're handling it. It certainly is that top half of the National League is a similar standard. You say League Three, effectively, in terms of what they're doing, and it's fantastic. I mean, I unfortunately I missed it. I was at tennis on Saturday, so I missed it. I was keeping tabs on it because I watched the Notts County Boreham Wood semi-final, and that was epic because it was last-minute equalisers and fighting back in there, and say for this one to go all the way to penalties. And I think Chris mentions in the chat. I saw John Bostock's. They got away with it though. He tried the old Panenka in the penalty shootout. And
why do you try a Panenka for the winning penalty?
I know.
Why?
You just the glory of it and being clever and looking quality of doing it versus that would live with you forever. If it had gone the other way around, my God, I mean, you'd feel horrendous. It takes a special character to do one, but it was just a bit of a mad character, I think, to do it. So they got through it. Wow. So Notts County will be up again. They'll be up again.
Yes.
I did see them actually play, not this season, last season. And they had a middling season last season. They played down at Eastleigh. It was the one non-league game that I watched. And I thought they were a team that got it down and played. They tried to play some proper football. But that day, Eastleigh played proper National League football and just went long. And there was lots of tippy-tapper. But they looked like a team that were building to something interesting. So
yeah, definitely. It was such a shame, actually, seeing them go down. And obviously with Wrexham as well. But you look at some of the teams down there in the National League now. Obviously, Wrexham were there for so long. Notts Counties, like you mentioned, Stockport went up. I think Oldham will be a threat next season because even though they've kind of struggled earlier on, they've now got the manager, they've had a takeover, they've kind of got used to it and found the feet. They went on a good run. So I think they'll be a threat next season. Chesterfield, I actually personally think Chesterfield will win it next year.
Yeah, Craig agrees,
Yeah. I think Chesterfield will definitely win it next year. I don't think they'll dwell on this too much. I think they'll just think, right, now get our heads in gear for next season. I think they're doing all right financially as well, and they are quite a big club, Chesterfield. So I think they'll.
Chesterfield played better than Notts County in that final as well.
Yeah, same. I do. I think they're really unlucky. That's why with me, at the start, I wanted Notts County to do it because they went so close to Wrexham, and obviously you had the story with Wrexham. But then watching it, I felt so sorry for Chesterfield.
It's funny how football does that. Having had the playoffs, if you haven't got a single investment in the club and you switch between the games, and then you go, "This is actually quite good. I want them to equalise because I want a bit more of this." You do. I'd say Chesterfield are well set. They're well set, I think, for next season, and they'll be quite 100%. Pleased to get rid of Notts County and Wrexham. I'm sure out there as everybody else will.
And then obviously it's nice to see. Obviously we've got them coming up, National League North, Kidderminster. I remember back in the day when they used to be obviously in League Two. I remember going to Kidderminster, so that's a club who I'm so glad to obviously see come up. And then we've got Oxford City from the south as well, so they will be joining us.
Yeah, well, indeed, it will be very
Southern League though, a very Southern League, which it's not very good, obviously, like financially for us, because obviously we're going to take a big dip anyway. Oldham will make up for it. Don't get me wrong, we've got our derby back, but with it being a very Southern League, I can't really expect a lot of fans coming. But you might think, because we've just got relegated, not many of those fans have been to Rochdale before, so we could get it that way. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going to the new grounds, but then part of me isn't, because I don't want us to do a scunthorpe.
Yeah, you don't want to go one more, do you? This is this is the floor. The floor can't go any lower.
Yeah, but just talking about Rochdale as well, I don't want to make it all about us, but just talking about Rochdale, we have appointed Jim McNulty as our manager, which I will admit, I did want someone experienced, and when I saw the news, I kind of did spit my dummy out, and I was like, oh, what have they done? And we need someone experienced. But then looking at it logically as well, I thought to myself, when we have brought experience in before, it hasn't worked. And don't get me wrong, we've brought in inexperienced and up-and-coming managers before, which haven't worked, but they've been from other clubs, or they've been academy managers, where I think with Jim McNulty, it is very similar to a Keith Hill, where he's been at the club for so long. He obviously knows. I'm not saying he knows how to run it, but he knows everything what happens at the club. He knows the familiar faces at the club. He's got that love for it as well because he is part of it. So as much as I wasn't happy, I do kind of trust Jim McNulty more than I would like someone coming in, because I think his intentions will be right. He'll know who he'll want to get rid of, obviously, as well as managing them this season. He's played with these players, so he'll know who the bad apples are, he'll know who the good apples are. So as much as I was frustrated, I am now looking back on it and calming down. I do think it was the right thing to do.
It was the right thing to do. And Josh asks, are you trusting the process?
I'm not trusting any process. Every time I trust a process, it goes downhill. I'm not going to use the language I was going to use. It goes downhill. So no processes are being trusted yet.
No processes are followed.
I believe it could be a process, but I'm not trusting it yet.
You get to see some wonderful stadiums of National League, etc.
Exactly.
So my local Eastleigh is in National League. You might still find, I used to play five-a-side out the back of there. You might find one of the balls that I hooned over the bar from about 5 years ago that I never found is probably somewhere in that stadium.
A Wealdstone in this league.
Yes, they are.
A Wealdstone Raider.
Yeah, exactly.
With him.
It's worth the relegation alone.
Just to meet him.
A pint and a selfie with the Raider.
We'll get him as a guest on the pod.
Oh God, yeah, that would be our PG. That would be our PG-12 rating gone. So yes, that is the National League. We've flown through tonight. We've still got the Europeans to do, so I will go to the Europeans quite quickly because there's been so much football to cover. So I don't know if you can see that. It's a bit. I did take a different table today, so we'll go through La Liga very quickly. Barcelona are the champions. Barcelona won the title for the first time since 2019.
You know why I'm laughing, don't you? When they were celebrating.
Yeah. Rule number one: don't celebrate. Don't celebrate when you're surrounded by your rivals who are also going to get relegated.
You're all there around the centre circle doing Ringa Rosie, and then all of a sudden it's like, what's this about?
It reminded me of that scene from Game of Thrones and the one with Jon Snow, whatever, where they all suddenly got surrounded and were like, oh no, game over here. Absolutely crazy as they got chased off the pitch. That was utterly bonkers. They shouldn't be still on the pitch, but I mean, what did they expect was going to happen dancing in the circle? Just ridiculous. So Barcelona are the champions. Real Madrid warmed up for their Manchester City beating Getafe. Getafe 1-0. But Atletico, they were shocked. They were shocked away at bottom club Elche. Elche got their fourth in the season. So Josh, a big win for Elche despite the fact they're going down. Villarreal battered Bilbao 5-1, so they still remain in the Europa League spots. And Sociedad were held 2-2 by my Girona, not your Girona, but my Girona, who are just about hanging on to that Conference League playoff spot. Sevilla are now 10th. Remember at the start of the season, Sevilla were in the relegation zone are having an absolute terrible season. They've gone on an absolute tear, both in the league and in the Europa League. They beat Vallecano 3-0, so they've now got a sniff of Europe. Absolute sniff of Europe. They've absolutely flew up. Couldn't believe it. Josh has had a predictive text nightmare. Woohoo, Roch. Come on, Rochi. Elche, predictive text. And Valencia defeated Celta Vigo, so they have moved up to 14th and move a bit clear in terms of the relegation zone as well. Moving over to Italy. Italy is a done deal as well. Napoli are, of course, champions, so they lost 2-0 to Monza, but I'm pretty sure they don't care because the party in Naples continues. They are well clear. Juventus obviously have their points back, and now they have Champions League confirmed.
Madness.
Which is madness in only the Italian league could have a deduction and a reinstatement within the space of 6 weeks, and still have that not confirmed either. Although Paul Pogba came back and he's injured again. He scored his first goal or set up first goal. I can't remember what it was in the Europa League midweek, and then he's injured again. So Paul Pogba looking like he has suffered a lot of injuries, not like the
What can you call Paul Pogba? He's not really a footballer. He's just a shirt seller, isn't he, really? That's pretty much what he is now.
Yeah.
He's a sponsorship dream, but he's just... They sound, the shirts are worn more by the people that buy them than Pogba wears on the pitch. That's
he
for
is
sure.
literally the definition of a social media influencer, isn't he? That is his job. He's not a footballer anymore. He's one of them who goes on Love Island and gets famous.
That's it. That is him. I'm here, and we've got another update from Liverpool, Leicester. 3-0. Trent Alexander-Arnold has scored. He's also in my dream team, so at least for my dream team, it's a lovely day.
Not looking good for Leicester.
It's not looking good for Leicester. Not looking good for Leicester. Elsewhere in Italy, Inter Milan won 4-2. An incredible goal by Lukaku, of all people. Probably Lukaku scoring for them. Obviously, they beat Milan in the first leg of the Champions League tie. Milan lost to Spezia at the weekend 2-0. So it's looking like Milan are having a rough week with that second leg to come. Roma drew 0-0 away at Bologna, but Mourinho's got all his eggs in the Europa Conference League basket at the minute. So he's got his eye on Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen for second leg coming on next week. And Fiorentina beat Udinese 2-0 to close the gap with 2 red cards in a feisty stoppage time. And at the bottom here, Spezia and Verona are on 30 points each, but Italy it's the head-to-head rule, not goal difference in Italy. So Spezia have got the nod on the head-to-head rule coming up at the minute as they battle relegation. It's one of those two or Lecce by the looks of it. Over to Germany, and it's the usual suspects at the top. It's Bayern Munich, it's Borussia Dortmund. Bayern spanked Schalke 6-0 to stay top, making it look easy. And Borussia Dortmund didn't have much difficulty either, as they were 4 up in half an hour against Mönchengladbach, and they won 5-2 in the end. Just a point separating those two, so it'd be interesting how that goes. And not Liverpool-bound Jude Bellingham scored in that game for Borussia Dortmund. He managed to sneak one in, so he'll be a top signing for somebody. I wonder who gets him.
It's not Liverpool. Sorry, Josh.
You got Curtis Jones. Look, he's scoring.
I know, you don't need him now. You'll have Mason Mount too.
And then elsewhere, Union Berlin got the better of Freiburg in their battle for the last Champions League place. So Union Berlin's fantastic season seems to hopefully be ending for them in Champions League, while Leipzig scored twice in the last 3 minutes to turn a defeat into a win. And they play Bayern next week. So if Bayern are going to mess this up, next week might be the one, but it is at the Allianz Arena, so maybe not. At the bottom, Hertha Berlin lost 5-2. I mean, so many goals in the Bundesliga. Defensive, I mean, they make some of our defending in the Premier League look exceptional this weekend. 5-2 loss for Hertha Berlin away at Cologne. So it looks like that they are almost done on 25 points. They're sneaking away. Schalke back in trouble with that loss to Bayern, and Stuttgart got a good point at home to Leverkusen, but they're still in there. It's very tight at the bottom of the Bundesliga. And to finish things off, PSG look like they're going to win the league again. They beat Ajaccio. Some bloke called Mbappe scored twice as well. A lot of Marseille behind. PSG, it's their year again. It's not cool, PSG. It's not cool. It's boring everybody else with this. We need some more competition. They got close. 6 points isn't too bad for this point of the season, but sometimes it is. So Paris Saint-Germain look like they're going to be taking home the bacon again. And that's it. And the only other coverage I want to cover quickly as well was, I know we've done some WSL when Kira's on the pod, but it was the Women's FA Cup final this weekend.
Yeah.
Chelsea beat Manchester United. Congratulations to Chelsea. It's what they do. Women's football, absolute juggernaut. Sam Kerr's big player, scored a fantastic winning goal for them. A big player for a big game occasion. Chelsea have a lot of those. But from a Man United perspective, they've made such strides to get there. So I think it's kind of one of those. Really and they played it was a really good final, really strong sort of setup between the two. So they've come in such a short amount of time to a big space. So they've done very well. So
and Manchester United women have not even beat Chelsea's women's over the terms of history. Chelsea's women always seem to get the results. So it was a big ask, a big task, but not a bad result really. You performed pretty well.
I think they performed well, and they had some good chances. There was some opportunities. There was a tight, it was offside, the goal that was disallowed, rightfully so, but it was tight. They created Chelsea some problems, but it's the big teams have the knack in the big games. That's the next stage, isn't it? It's the Manchester City on the men's side. Chelsea is that on the female side. You said they've never beaten them, so that loss in the league could be important as well, because Chelsea look like they're going to win all their games. So As Chris said, yeah, United scored after 20 seconds as well. Yeah, I believe offside. Yeah, that popped up on my phone. I was at Peppa Pig World just before I went on Daddy Pig's car ride. So by the time I got off Daddy Pig's car ride, it was chalked off. Damn you, Daddy Pig's car ride. Damn you. And there we are. There's our roundabout of all the rest of the football, and we come back around to
That's really made me laugh.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been fantastic. And thank you specifically to Dan. Thank you for coming, John. It's been wonderful to have you.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I've loved it.
Great to have you back on. We've enjoyed it. And so do check Dan out. Dan is Turf Moorhouse TV at his Burnley channel, doing some wonderful stuff. And check his episode out, all about Burnley, if you haven't already. It was a cracking watch and a good laugh that we had as well. So, Dan, why don't you tell everybody where people can find more Dan? Because they need to find more Dan in their lives. Where can they get you?
To be fair, I said everywhere, but OnlyFans last time. But so pretty much the same.
Are you on it now?
No. I mean, it's the summer. It's the summer now, and there's no football.
The shorts are out.
What am I going to do? YouTube's not reviewing. I'm not getting enough monetization revenue yet from YouTube, so I might have to look down other avenues. But no, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the usual social media platforms, and yeah, looking forward to putting out some Premier League content next season.
Magical stuff, excellent stuff. And Charlotte, of course, where can everybody find you? If they're not following, because everyone's following you already, but just in case you're not, where can you follow Char?
I am most active on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm SharXREFC. And please, please, please go and check out my Rochdale Her Game 2 stuff. It's Rochdale HGT on them same socials. There's some really good stuff on, and we've done like a video of everything we've done this season, and it's so lovely to see all like the smiles on the young girls' faces, honestly. And if you're not following Her Game 2 as well, please follow Her Game 2, because the work that these women and just everyone in general are doing for that campaign and just for the next generation, honestly, it's insane. So please give it a follow and show some support.
Definitely do. It's happy birthday indeed on that side of things. And we were lucky enough to have some of the Rochdale girls joined us actually for we did our first absolute interview episode last week. We had Darren Ryan, who was absolutely brilliant from the Wolverhampton player development, head of player development at Wolverhampton. Obviously played for Rochdale, and we asked some of the questions from him to the girls, and he absolutely loved it. Some of the questions that came in. So again, that's available on the channel to watch as well if that's something you're interested in. You can find me. I'm Up the FM Ducks. You can find me on Twitter, all the socials, all the usuals. I'm doing football shirt reviews at the minute on my website. I'm about to get a Burnley review up shortly, Dan, actually, on season review. If I get my butt in gear and actually sit down with a pen and paper and write the rest of it. I
look forward to that.
I got as far as your midfield, and I thought your attack's going to take a while because you've not done too bad. So I've been a bit writer's block on that for a couple of days. So yeah, you can find me on all Twitter, TikTok, all the rest. And of course, you can find the pod. You can find the pod on all our handles, all in different places. Twitter at Absolute Ball Pod, TikTok Absolute Football Pod, and Instagram Absolute Football Podcast _ It'd be great if you could join us, and please do subscribe, like to the channel, so we know that you like this kind of thing, you like our podcast, and we can do more of them for you. That's what we would love to do. And of course, thank you to everybody in the chat, because it wouldn't be the same without you all here joining us. And just one more, we'll just chuck in. Obviously, we've got Chris in here. Go and check it out. It's absolutely brilliant. Very good. Learning the tagline. Excellent. Kate is also in the chat. Other revenues being anything but OnlyFans cheeky. And Heather says, yeah, up the FM2. There was a fantastic conference this weekend. Yeah, I think you can see on a lot of the ambassadors' pages, lots of them, the meetup that they had this weekend as well. So excellent. Do check all of that out. But for now, we're going to say tatty bye, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you next time. We're not trusting the process according to Shah.
Don't trust the process.
Don't trust the process. It's now the message. It's now the message. Do what you like. Take care. We'll see you next time.